Thank you, Fletcher. Next, I'd like to introduce Jeremiah Shinn, our keynote speaker for tonight's final banquet. Jeremiah is a Phi Zeta chapter alumni brother from Arkansas Tech University. He currently serves as the Assistant Vice President for Student Life at Boise State University. Prior to his time in Boise, he served in various capacities at both Eastern Michigan University and Indiana University. He has served in a number of roles dedicated to improving the college student experience through fraternities and sororities, including 7 years on the Association of Fraternity and Sorority Advisors Board, known as the AFA, 2013 AFA President, board member of the Center for the Study of the College Fraternity, the Delta Upsilon President's Task Force, NASPA Region 4E Fraternity and Sorority Knowledge Community Chair, Interfraternity Institute Associate Director and Co-Director, and as a facilitator for scores of undergraduate fraternity and sorority leadership programs. In addition to his fraternity and sorority involvement, Jeremiah is active in both his local and professional communities. In addition to earning a bachelor's degree from Arkansas Tech, he earned a master's degree in higher education from the University of Michigan and a doctorate degree in educational leadership from Eastern Michigan University. Please help me give him a warm welcome to Lambda Chi Alpha brother Jeremiah Shinn.
Thank you. Good evening. Oh man, that was tough. Good evening. Awesome. Love that. Thank you for such a warm reception. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you tonight to celebrate what I think are the unprecedented possibilities that we have before us, and to secure our place in history as the fraternity whose principled leadership revived, renewed, and preserved the fraternity and sorority experience for generations to come. Tonight, we celebrate what you have accomplished and what you will accomplish as a result of your time here together this week. You know, when brothers from across North America get together in a setting like this, as you've done this week, it's customary to spend our time talking about past struggles, past successes, even legendary figures in our chapter or even our fraternity. Tonight, I'd like for us to look forward as opposed to backward, to shift our focus to the fact that you are now even better positioned to help create a long and storied future for our fraternity and for your campus. On the plane, actually, I was reading a quote from General Douglas MacArthur, and in it he said, "Nobody grows old by merely living a number of years. People grow old by deserting their ideals." More on that later. He goes on to say, whether 70 or 16, there is in every being's heart the love of wonder, the challenge of events, the unfailing childlike appetite for what's next. In that spirit, it's important for you to know that you are the future of this fraternity and of the fraternity sorority community back on your campus. What is and what has been got us to this point, but what's next is what matters, and you get to decide what's next. We're counting on you. We're counting on each and every one of you because we believe in you. We have faith in you. I hope you'll embrace that with every ounce of enthusiasm and confidence that such a privilege asks of you. This world needs you to be everything you're capable of being as a chapter, as students, as citizens, as men of honor, as men of integrity, duty, personal courage, loyalty, respect, men of service and stewardship. I know you're equal to the challenge. As you continue the journey of shaping your future, our fraternity's future, and your fraternity sorority community's future, I would be remiss if I didn't use this great opportunity to speak with you to offer some perspective. Not advice. I don't offer advice. I offer perspective. Not only on how to continue building Lambda Chi Alpha into a sustainable and relevant experience for you and those who follow, but also how to use this experience to develop the skills necessary for you to make great things happen even after you graduate from college and begin your life as an alumnus. This is interesting coming here because I was here 18 years ago as an undergraduate member. I was the high beta in my chapter. And I remember coming with a brother named Lyle, and he'd never been on a plane, never been out of Arkansas, and he's gone on to do great things, and we've gone on in our careers. But I can't help but think that the seeds that were sown at this are some of the things that helped us grow and move together. And you're going to be, one of you, two of you, three of you, you'll be on this stage very soon, and time goes by fast. So I hope you're learning through this experience. There are many things I hope you're learning as a result of your Lambda Chi Alpha experience. But tonight, I'd like to briefly highlight 3 things that I hope you're learning: purpose, leadership, and commitment. So let's start with purpose. A man named Simon Sinek of TED Talk fame reminds us that every organization on the planet knows what they do, and some even know how they do it. But very few people and very few organizations on planet Earth can clearly articulate why they do what they do, the purpose, the cause, the belief that gives an organization a reason to exist. This purpose, this why, it's essential. And you've joined an organization that's about something noble and timeless. Lambda Chi Alpha's purpose, its why, is something that's relevant to you, and it's something that's relevant to our world. So be really good at the what. Do stuff. Devote your time and energy. Get your hands dirty. Do good work. But in doing the good work, don't lose sight of what you're trying to become or why Lambda Chi Alpha exists. This is the whole point. Great organizations, Apple, Patagonia, Google, the list goes on, they maintain a laser focus on their why. This focus on why gives them the energy necessary to work even harder on doing good stuff. They do great things because they're first committed to being great organizations, great companies. You can do great things when you're focused on being a great person, on being a great chapter. For better or worse, what you do or don't do as an individual is ultimately a reflection of who you are. So be it. Do it. This is a life skill, and this fraternity will provide you with amazing opportunities to practice being a great individual who's committed to an even greater purpose. Embrace it and practice it this year. Leadership. So I want to make a distinction between leadership and management, because I believe that they're fundamentally different things. Focus a lot on management, and we call it leadership, but we don't focus much on leadership. So I want to make that distinction. Specifically, I'd like to focus on a leadership dynamic that I've seen great chapters master and struggling chapters disregard. In Lambda Chi Alpha, you'll have the opportunity to lead, not just because you might hold formal positions, but because you'll practice the human skills necessary to motivate your brothers to be the best versions of themselves. And you've been talking about that this week, encouraging the heart, inspiring a shared vision. Leadership isn't a position, it's a mindset. It's not something that you do, it's who you are. Leadership is an active choice that you get to make or you don't make. If you're a leader, it's because you chose to be a leader. If you aren't, it's because you chose not to be. Everyone can be a great leader because everyone can influence greatness in those around them. And there are 2 ways to approach this. You can attempt to manage others with power and policy, or you can lead them with influence and by building authentic relationships. Sure, there are times when power and policy serve a management purpose. However, as long-term strategies in your chapter, they alone will rarely result in your brothers consistently going the extra mile for you and for our fraternity. You manage process, but you lead people. I've noticed that chapters that over-rely on power and policy end up with members doing just enough to keep you all off their backs. And I'm guessing you can relate to that. I see heads nodding. This might very well be an effective short-term management technique, but it's certainly not leadership. Conversely, influence, authentic relationships, it's the willingness and ability to flex your approach in a way that motivates your brothers to do more than they thought that they could. To lead in this way, you're going to have to check your ego at the door and be willing to be wrong at times. You'll have to compromise, and so will everyone else. Sometimes people need to change, But people don't change because you want them to change. They change because they believe in something and they want to align their action with that belief. We believe something together. We believe in Lambda Chi Alpha. Power and policy might lead to a short-term fix or a temporary change in behavior, but it will rarely result in a sustainable change or positive culture. By building strong, trusting, authentic relationships, you have the opportunity to practice the very leadership skills that our world so desperately needs. And you get to do it right here in Lambda Chi Alpha, starting now. I hope you'll choose to lead. The final piece of perspective I want to offer you this evening pertains to commitment. By now, each of you has committed yourself to live the mission and purpose of our fraternity. I made the same commitment 19 years ago during my own initiation ceremony. And the tricky part about commitment is we don't get to make them for now, for when they're convenient, for when they're fun, until they're hard, or until we're bored with them. We've all committed ourselves to the idea that a group of men who might not have otherwise come together in any other setting could create something great together if they were all in together and if they could trust each other to be all in together. We believe that. Tonight, I want to invite you to be all into this fraternity, to be fully committed, to be about building a great chapter, to be Lambda Chi Alpha, to develop the skill of commitment. Commitment is an especially important skill to develop because it's hard, especially when it's hard. And life is full of opportunities to exercise commitment or not. As an individual who is married to the most amazing Alpha Zeta Delta woman on the planet, my commitment to her is easy, I would say 361 days a year. It's not those days that determine my level of commitment. It's the other 4 days that determine if I'm all in or if I'm all out. Because if I'm not all in, I'm all out. We have to choose a side. I have to choose that side. Also, I think that I have the best job on the planet, and I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing with my life right now than doing my job. I'm so fortunate to have it. I feel this way about 94% of the time. It isn't these times that test my commitment to my work. It's the other percentage of time that tests my work and ultimately demonstrates whether I'm committed to it or not. So whether in work, friendships, partnerships, personal faith, contracts, or basic promises to one another, life is about the willingness and ability to fully commit to something, to commit to others, and to follow through with those commitments, especially when you don't want to do it. I promise you that you won't always feel as hopeful or as passionate about Lambda Chi Alpha as you do right now after being here with brothers from across North America celebrating our fraternity this week. I promise you, you won't always feel as hopeful or passionate as you do right now. It will be hard at times and you will get frustrated. It's at those moments when you'll decide if you're a person for whom commitment is something enduring or temporary. It's a choice, and you get to make that decision. Ultimately, if the purpose of Lambda Chi Alpha was worth it when you were initiated, if it's worth it tonight, then it will still be worth it when you want to give up, when it's hard, when you're finished, when you want to go alumni. Our values are enduring, and they're worthy of your commitment. Commitment isn't a switch you flip. It's a skill and a mindset that you can develop during this experience. Yes, it requires you to be your brother's keeper, and yes, it requires you to embrace the fact that you too have lots of keepers who expect you to do what you say you would do, even when you wish you hadn't made the commitment. Friendship is unconditional, but brotherhood comes with strings attached. It's about commitment. Our fraternity needs role models, and your campus needs students who are committed to making great things happen in the classroom and outside of it. I challenge each of you to define what it means to be a role model, not as the person with the most Snapchat friends, not as the chapter with the coolest partner during homecoming, but instead, I want you to define what it means to be a role model as the person who's truly making amazing things happen for themselves, for this fraternity, and for your campus. Someone whose version of cool won't lose its relevance the very minute they graduate from college. Because cool, my friends, is a moving target, and you can never achieve it because there's always something cooler. But purpose, leadership, commitment, those things are always relevant. Practice those, be those. This is what it means to be a role model. This is greatness. And I believe you can be great because greatness is a choice, not an accident. And we can all achieve it in our little corner of the world if we really want to. Being a role model requires you to be different, though. To be bold, to challenge, to change, to grow, to learn, to teach, to be uncomfortable, and sometimes to be wrong. With the world changing at breakneck pace, we can no longer afford to play it safe as fraternity men and as leaders. Role models don't play it safe, and they don't worry about another person's version of cool because that's not very cool. They swing for the fences and they change the world. We don't quote people who played it safe. We quote people who made things happen while their peers believed the hype, checked the boxes, and sat on their hands while others did the heavy lifting that changing the world requires of us. Yes, I believe that Lambda Chi Alpha men can and will change the world. And yes, I believe the capacity for greatness exists in this room tonight. I know it does. I hope that freaks you out a little bit because I'm putting that on you. But I also hope that it motivates you to commit to leading with a purpose and a passion, leading with the values of Lambda Chi Alpha at the forefront. They won't desert you. They'll never do you wrong. I hope it motivates you to dig deep and figure out what you're really capable of. What you're really capable of if you'll let yourself be that. You all are going to do great things because you've already surrounded yourself with great people. Let this experience shape you into the best version of yourself because it absolutely will if you'll just let it. I'm so honored to share this evening with you, my brothers. You are the ones we've been waiting for. So let's get started. Thank you.